Hello guys, welcome back to Anime Moments. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Renegade Immortal based on novel. So let's start. After 60 feet, Wang Lin's eyes narrowed. He didn't continue forward but took 3 steps back. Then he stepped to the side for 9 steps, took another 3 steps back, and then went straight ahead once more. He went in almost a small circle before arriving 30 feet away from the pavilion. His expression was calm because all of this was within his deductions and all 10,000 changes were memorized in his heart. Every single step was something he had calculated countless times until he was finally sure. He could only walk so leisurely because he was very confident. Wang Lin knew that if he wasn't careful and took one wrong step, he would suffer powerful backlash. The first 60 feet weren't that bad, but the last 40 feet would be disastrous for him with his current cultivation. However, nothing was absolute and there was always a path to safety within the restriction. If one could step onto that path in a moment of crisis, they would save their life. This was also something special about celestial restrictions. However, this path of safety was never set and was constantly moving within the restriction. During the past 2 months, aside from learning the changes of the restriction itself, Wang Lin also focused on deducing the position of the safe path. The reason he went in a circle from 60 to 70 feet was because of the change in the path of safety. He always kept himself only 1 step away from it. At this moment, he stood at 70 feet and concentrated on calculating for a moment. Then his body moved and he directly crossed 10 feet in 1 step. After landing, Wang Lin immediately crossed another 10 feet, but at the moment he landed, his expression changed. Without any hesitation, he took half a step to the left, and at this moment, a black tornado suddenly appeared in the last 10 feet. This tornado appeared out of nowhere and released a violent force. There were also strands of black lightning moving within it. In almost an instant, this 10-foot area was covered in a destructive force. The violent wind surged through the area and lightning struck out mercilessly. This destructive force was something not even ascendant cultivators could withstand, much less Wang Lin. Especially the lightning, it moved like dragons that could destroy anything. Wang Lin's figure continued to move inside the hurricane, covering the 10-foot area while carefully threading between the lightning bolts. Every step he took was on the path of safety, and one misstep would end with his origin soul being extinguished. The step earlier wasn't a miscalculation, but for some reason, the restriction started to operate in reverse. After 10 breaths of time, the tornado disappeared as if it had never existed, and the black lightning disappeared along with it. Wang Lin's body moved in a flash and crossed the last 10 feet, landing in the pavilion. Although he had finally crossed the last 10 feet, his forehead was covered in sweat. At the moment he stepped into the pavilion, the area 100 feet around it lit up. It was a bright light that shined on the surrounding area, causing the scenery to immediately change. When Wang Lin looked into the pavilion, it was as if the clouds were spread apart, revealing an area with a fake mountain. There was grass everywhere and a bamboo grove that connected with the bamboo grove that already existed. The change in scenery was as if one had come from death's door and entered another world. At the same time, a calm voice came from the void and landed in Wang Lin's ears. Breaking a restriction gives you the qualification to temporarily own this cave. As long as you don't die, no one else can enter. The moment this voice arrived, a ray of golden light flew in from the distance and stopped before Wang Lin. This was a crystal token. It was only the size of his finger, and it floated in the air and emitted a 7-colored light. This is the cave token. Hold this token and you can enter the cave. Wang Lin took a deep breath as he grabbed the small crystal token and looked at the pavilion. Every stone table and chair had restrictions protecting them and couldn't be casually touched. However, compared to the restriction covering the 100-foot area outside the pavilion, these restrictions were a lot weaker. Wang Lin didn't look at the table or chairs, his eyes focused on the wine jug on top of the round table. Although the restriction on the wine jug was exquisite, it was not difficult for Wang Lin to break. After deducing for a bit, his right hand pointed toward the jug and a water-like ripple appeared 3 inches from it. Wang Lin's finger pointed at the water ripple, creating a wave of ripples. At the same time, he quickly raised his finger and shot out an illusionary restriction that landed on the water ripple. At this moment, the water ripple immediately started boiling and a vortex formed at the center. The vortex spun faster and faster and grew, creating a circular void. Wang Lin's right hand moved like lightning as he reached directly through the vortex, grabbed the jug, and took it back out in an instant. Then the water ripple disappeared and everything returned to normal. Wang Lin revealed an excited expression. The wine jug in his hand was heavy, so it was obviously not empty. He took a deep breath as he opened the lid, then a refreshing scent immediately filled the air. Wang Lin saw that at the bottom of the wine jug there were 10 drops of wine. This wine jug is quite heavy, but it only has 10 drops of wine. However, this is wine from a celestial, so it can't be normal. Wang Lin stared at the wine jug and began to struggle. Shortly after, he clenched his teeth, poured out a drop of wine, and immediately sucked it into his mouth. At the moment that drop of wine entered his body, Wang Lin's entire body suddenly turned bright red. A crazy amount of celestial spiritual energy suddenly filled his body in an instant. A tipsy feeling slowly appeared inside Wang Lin's body along with the celestial spiritual energy. The amount of celestial spiritual energy in his body increased rapidly as it moved through his meridians like a flood. Then a hot surge appeared inside his dantian and shot up through his body. At the same time, the tipsy feeling became even stronger. Wang Lin's eyes were no longer clear and became muddy. His body slowly leaned to the side, his head dropped, and he fell asleep. Time passed by, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 1 year. Wang Lin was asleep for this entire year, and all the while, sounds of snoring could be heard coming from his mouth. Ever since Wang Lin began to cultivate, he rarely slept, and this was the longest sleep he had in the past several hundred years. Although he was sleeping, the celestial spiritual energy inside his body was rapidly increasing. This speed would even shock the All-Seer if he were here to witness it. When the celestial spiritual energy in his body reached a certain point, the demon crystal in his dantian silently shattered and melted. Demonic spiritual energy suddenly filled his body, but it was immediately swallowed up by the celestial spiritual energy and became part of him. Strands of celestial spiritual energy came out from his body and diffused into the surrounding 100-foot area. During this year of him sleeping, the celestial spiritual energy in the area became extremely dense. While Wang Lin slept, his right hand held the wine jug. This day, Wang Lin slowly opened his eyes and let out a burp filled with the smell of wine. His eyes were filled with some confusion as he suspiciously looked around, but the confusion immediately disappeared and was filled with clarity. He immediately stood up and revealed a look of vigilance. Then he carefully looked around and he slowly frowned as he looked at the wine jug in his hand. He only remembered that after drinking 1 drop of wine, the celestial spiritual energy in his body increased and then he lost control and fell asleep. Thinking of celestial spiritual energy, he immediately checked inside himself. After checking, his eyes revealed unimaginable shock. How long have I been asleep for? After Wang Lin began cultivating, it was very rare for him to be this shocked. The celestial spiritual energy inside my body has already far surpassed the peak of the late stage of soul transformation. I only need to comprehend my domain more to step into the life and death trial for reaching the ascendant stage. Wang Lin looked at wine jug in his hand with disbelief. What kind of wine is this? Wang Lin cautiously put the wine jug inside his bag of holding. Still feeling worried, he took it back out, placed layers of powerful restrictions on it, and then placed it back inside his bag of holding. I must completely clear this place out. At this moment, Wang Lin's interest in this place reached its peak. After the excitement, Wang Lin felt some fear. Luckily, my domain hasn't reached ascendant level yet, or else I would have begun trying to break through to the ascendant stage while asleep. I wouldn't have been able to take out the ascendant crystal Ju Yi gave me, and if it failed, I would have died too pitifully. Wang Lin pondered, but his eyes immediately lit up. With my current cultivation, no one at the soul transformation stage is a match for me. Now I only need my domain to reach ascendant level, then I can find a secret place to reach the ascendant stage. Here is the most secretive place of all, so once my domain has a breakthrough, I'll come back here to reach the ascendant stage. Everything in this world really depends on fate. It was a lucky coincidence that I entered his place. If not, even if I had the celestial jades, it would have taken many years to reach this state. Is this what mortals call a fortuitous encounter? Wang Lin was in a good mood because after sleeping for a year, he was in excellent condition. At this moment, he looked around, ready to break the restriction around him, when he suddenly thought of something. How long did I sleep for? If I slept for decades, or even hundreds of years, then everything outside will have changed greatly. If that is truly the case, I would have been better off cultivating on my own. Wang Lin pondered a bit as he walked within the pavilion. His eyes suddenly narrowed and his gaze fell on the bamboo grove in the distance. A corner of a fence could be seen inside the bamboo grove. Although a majority of it was covered by bamboo, after carefully looking at it, Wang Lin was able to find some clues. Earlier I didn't notice, but there is another loft here. This looks like the courtyard of a mortal temple. After pondering a bit, Wang Lin didn't go check the temple. He took out the crystal token and his divine sense entered it. There were waves of light and his figure disappeared from the cave. In a burst of light, Wang Lin appeared on the platform where the stone door was. The cave spirit was gone without a trace along with the stone door. If it wasn't for the fact that there were traces of blood that Yao Shishue had coughed out on the ground, he would have suspected that there was an error in the transfer. Wang Lin held the crystal token in his hand. Aside from the chant to enter and exit the cave, there was some information in it as well. After pondering for a bit, Wang Lin's body shot out and quickly moved along the revered dragon path. He quickly moved past the 11 platforms. There was no change on these platforms, and the stone statues remained in Yao Shishue's seals. After what happened in the cave, his cultivation level had increased to the peak of the late stage of soul transformation, so his speed had increased by a lot. He moved like a bolt of lightning and only took half a month of time to return to the first platform. This platform was completely empty, but at this moment, with his current cultivation and what he learned from breaking restrictions for 2 months, he noticed the transfer array that was left by the blood ancestor. Looking at the array, Wang Lin pondered a bit and then took out 4 bags of holding that all belonged to Yao Shishue. If it was before, Wang Lin would have had some difficulty opening these bags of holding with his mid-stage soul transformation cultivation. However, Wang Lin's cultivation had reached the peak of the late stage of soul transformation and was now even a bit higher than Yao Shishue's cultivation. With a thought, his right hand swiped past the 4 bags of holding and a burst of blood-colored light came from the bags. This blood-colored light was extremely tenacious, and it resisted Wang Lin's divine sense. Wang Lin let out a cold snort, and the celestial spiritual energy in his body moved as well as his origin soul. With one squeeze, the blood-colored light around one of the bags immediately collapsed. Wang Lin didn't stop, he reached for another bag of holding. The blood-colored light resisted for 3 breaths of time before collapsing. Wang Lin wiped out the divine sense imprint on the 3rd bag just like the last 2. He was about to finish it all in one go and grab the last bag when his expression suddenly changed and his right hand stopped 3 inches away from the 4th bag. His eyes became very serious as he slowly withdrew his right hand and carefully looked at the bag of holding. Earlier, when he obtained the bags of holding, his cultivation level wasn't high enough, but looking at it now, he seemed to see some clues. There was a faint, purple line within the last blood-colored light. It would be very difficult to notice it if one was not careful. It could only be found with divine sense and was completely invisible to the eyes. Although this bag of holding looks very normal, when I was about to erase it, I had this terrifying feeling. I'm afraid this bag doesn't have Yao Shishue's divine sense. Could it be her father, the blood ancestor? Wang Lin pondered. According to common sense, unless the bag has your own divine sense, you can't open it without wiping the other divine sense out first. However, the blood ancestor's cultivation is heavenly and he has cultivated for a long time. He might have found a way for his Dafa to use his bag of holding without having to wipe out his divine sense. As a result, even if an outsider got this bag and were careless, they would immediately be killed by the divine sense on it. This blood ancestor sure is tricky. Wang Lin slowly withdrew his divine sense. Now that his divine sense was gone, the blood-colored light on the bag of holding immediately disappeared. Although Wang Lin hasn't seen the blood ancestor, after seeing how he had spread misinformation about the blood soul pill and the divine sense trap on the bag of holding, it was as if he had met the blood ancestor in person. While he felt great admiration for the blood ancestor, he also deeply dreaded him. After pondering for a while, Wang Lin carefully put the bag of holding away and placed his gaze on the other 3 bags. He spread out his divine sense and couldn't help but suck in a deep breath even with his strong mental fortitude. The first bag was filled with celestial jades. There were too many celestial jades to even estimate. Wang Lin roughly scanned it with his divine sense. There were at least 10 times more celestial jades than what she had given him so far. The amount of celestial jades needed to reach the ascendant stage is great, far more than the total amount needed before this point. The amount of celestial jades needed for every step after the ascendant stage must be unimaginable. If one doesn't have enough, their cultivation just stops. This before me is a large amount of easy money. Wang Lin revealed a faint smile as he put away this bag of holding and his divine sense moved to the second bag. Looking inside the bag, his eyes immediately released a hint of excitement. The second bag of holding had no less than 1,000 blood-colored jades. During the time he spent with Yao Shishue, he developed strong feelings for the blood jades and also dreaded them very much. Once a jade is broken, the blood-colored light it releases has a very powerful sealing force. Aside from sealing, this blood-colored light can also act as a powerful protection spell. According to Wang Lin's analysis, this blood-colored light should also be able to attack, but it would be impossible to use it without the correct chant and method. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he touched the bag of holding and a blood jade appeared in his hand. He pondered a bit before squeezing the jade until it shattered. A ray of blood-colored light immediately came out from the shattered jade and floated before Wang Lin. After checking it with his divine sense, the blood-colored light dissipated, and Wang Lin thought, I don't have the method to use the sealing function, so I can only use it to protect myself. However, with Yao Shishue in my hands, I can get everything. The third bag was filled with many different things. There were even female clothing as well as some perfumes, small jewelry, and even dolls. Wang Lin directly ignored those things as his divine sense searched the area. His eyes suddenly narrowed as he found more than 10 blood soul pills. These wax pills were neatly placed together. There were dim symbols on them, but they weren't flickering. Not all of the blood soul pills were placed together, one pill was placed in the corner of the bag. This pill wasn't dim, and the symbols on it flickered slightly. Aside from the blood soul pill, there was also a compass on the side. Wang Lin's target was the compass. He touched the bag of holding and 2 items appeared in his hand. The compass and the blood soul pill that were placed in a corner. This Yao Shishue obviously couldn't have thought that she would be captured by me and have her bags taken by me, so the placement of the stuff inside the bag contained some information. There is an 80% chance that the blood soul pill placed on its own is real. As for the others, I assume they are all fake. In addition, aside from the blood jades, there are no magical treasures inside her 3 bags of holding. I assume things like magical treasures are all inside the bag with the blood ancestor's divine sense. Wang Lin looked at the blood soul pill for a while before putting it inside his bag of holding. As for the fake one Yao Shishue gave him, he took it out and placed it inside one of her bags. Then his eyes fell on the compass. This compass was completely blood red and was made from some unknown material. Holding it in his hand, he felt waves of coldness enter his body. Back then, Yao Shishue used this compass to enter this place. This compass must have some connection with the array here. Wang Lin's divine sense entered the compass and found Yao Shishue's divine sense imprint inside. Wang Lin let out a breath of relief. If this compass also had the blood ancestor's divine sense, he would have had to find a way to modify the transfer array here to leave this place. There was a transfer array to leave this place inside the cave as well. Wang Lin learned of it from the crystal token. However, the transfer array was in the northeastern corner of the cave and was fairly far from where Wang Lin was located. With all the restrictions in the way, it would be a difficult trip to get there. Otherwise, he wouldn't be in this situation. Wang Lin easily wiped out Yao Shishue's divine sense from the compass and replaced it with his own divine sense. He immediately found that there was a small formation inside the compass. The formation constantly changed as the pin on the compass moved and hasn't stopped once. This compass indeed also has a formation. The transfer array outside and the formation inside the compass must sync up, or else it will have no effect. Wang Lin's divine sense probed the inside of the compass and studied it for a bit. While he couldn't completely see through it, he was able to find some clues. He used 3 days of time to change the formation inside the compass, then he changed the transfer array on the platform, causing the transfer array to become very different from before. Although Wang Lin didn't change much about the transfer array, he did change one key point. If anyone else besides him were to enter this place, the transfer array would immediately send them back. This continuous transfer would cause space to break open and that person would be dragged into the void. Just sending them into a spatial rift doesn't mean they will die, so I must add some extras. Wang Lin pondered a bit and then began working on the transfer array. He had used 3 days to change the transfer array but used 30 days to add countless restrictions to it. Not only was he not impatient while adding the restrictions, he felt rather happy. If someone were to really come through here, they would definitely be surprised. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as his divine sense entered the compass to activate it. Then a flash of blood-colored light surrounded Wang Lin's whole body, and after a few breaths of time, the blood-colored light disappeared and so did Wang Lin. There was a burst of blood-colored light on the ancient mountain 1,000 kilometers away from the army camp, and Wang Lin appeared. The glaring sunlight entered Wang Lin's eyes. He looked at the surroundings with a feeling like he was viewing it from another world. The faint outline of ancient demon city didn't seem to change from when he left. Wang Lin took a deep breath as he turned into a ray of light and charged toward the army camp. His speed was much faster than before, so it didn't take long before he closed in on the army camp. Just at this moment, a powerful killing intent came out from the army camp and locked onto Wang Lin. "Incomer, stop!" A roar came from within the army camp. This voice contained powerful killing intent. At the same time, a ray of black light came from the wall around the camp, creating a black, mist-like protection barrier. Inside the army camp, 10,000 black-armored demon soldiers stood at the center. Before them was a burly fellow in black armor coldly looking outside the army camp. Sima Yang stood respectfully beside this burly man. From his expression, it could be seen that he was filled with respect toward the burly man. Aside from Sima Yang, there were 3 more people in black armor. From their clothes, it was clear that they were also commanders, and their expressions were equally as respectful. Wang Lin's body moved like meteor and didn't stop at all. When he got close to the black mist, he let out a snort and the celestial spiritual energy inside his body spread out. The black mist before him immediately scattered, creating an opening for him, and he calmly stepped inside. The burly man in black armor coldly looked at Wang Lin as he waved his hand and shouted, "Anyone who dares to rush into the military camp will be killed without question." The 3 commanders behind him charged out without any hesitation. Sima Yang recognized Wang Lin, so he hesitated for a bit before clenching his teeth and charging out. Of the 4 commanders, 3 of them were equal to early-stage soul transformation cultivators and one of them was the same as a mid-stage soul transformation cultivator. If it was before Wang Lin entered the cave, he could still win, but it would cause him some trouble and delay him quite a bit. This was mostly because the 4 of them had a lot of demonic spiritual energy. As they charged at him, their demonic spiritual energy took the form of 4 demonic beasts that made them even more fierce. But right now Wang Lin's cultivation had reached the peak of the late stage of soul transformation, so he was currently standing at the top of soul transformation cultivators. When he saw the 4 of them rushing at him, his expression was completely calm. "Back down." Wang Lin stood still and only opened his mouth to say those 2 words. Although his voice was low, it contained the celestial spiritual energy of a peak late-stage soul transformation cultivator. The sound was like thunder echoing in the 4 commanders' ears. Only the commander who was equal to a mid-stage soul transformation cultivator was able to resist it with only his expression changing. The other 3 were only equal to early-stage soul transformation cultivators, so the difference in cultivation levels was too great. Their faces turned pale, and their bodies trembled and involuntarily stopped. Although their cultivation could be compared to soul transformation cultivators, they were still too far below from Wang Lin's level. Wang Lin was now at the peak of the soul transformation stage. Wang Lin's expression was neutral as he walked forward. Although his steps were slow, they were firm. The commander, whose cultivation was equal to that of mid-stage soul transformation cultivator, immediately took a step to the side, as he didn't dare to stop Wang Lin. As for the remaining three, they were all filled with shock, especially Sima Yang, who was the most shocked of them all, and he didn't dare to even look at Wang Lin. He felt he was very lucky back then. If he had known that Wang Lin had such cultivation, he would have never dared to provoke Wang Lin back then. But his heart immediately trembled as he thought about what happened to 13 and Hu Pao. He secretly cursed and felt regret. As Wang Lin stepped closer, all 10,000 demon soldiers dispersed to make a path. They all recognized Wang Lin, and the scenes from the past rushed into their hearts. Their complex feelings and fear for their mysterious former commander rose up in their hearts once more. Some of the demon soldiers here were new and had not seen Wang Lin before. Although they had doubts in their hearts, after seeing how even the Lord Commanders didn't dare to stop him, they all involuntarily retreated. In almost an instant, a long passage appeared before Wang Lin, and at the end of the passage was the burly man in black armor. His eyes were still cold, but right now there was an air of seriousness gathering around him. His eyes were cold, but Wang Lin's eyes were even colder. Wang Lin's entire body was like a piece of never-melting ice as he walked step by step toward the burly man in black armor. As he walked by, the black-armored demon soldiers close to him all took a step back, as they felt a suffocating feeling come from the bottom of their hearts. The serious aura around the burly man in black armor became even stronger as he let out a roar and took a step forward. This step caused his aura to immediately rush out. This aura was invisible, but all the surrounding demon soldiers felt it, causing them to involuntarily back up even more. Wang Lin's expression was still cold. He didn't pause the slightest and continued to walk forward step by step. The aura from the burly man in black armor dissipated the moment it landed on Wang Lin's body and was unable to affect Wang Lin at all. Wang Lin was able to see through the burly man's cultivation at one glance. The burly man's demonic spiritual energy was equal to that of a late-stage soul transformation cultivator that hadn't reached the peak of the late stage yet. Wang Lin's own aura increased like crazy with every step he took. As he walked, frost began to appear on the ground and spread. The burly man in black armor was at a disadvantage when it came to their auras, so a suffocating feeling immediately appeared in his heart. He subconsciously wanted to take a step back, but he immediately forced himself to stop. He knew that if he were to retreat, he would lose his momentum and his enemy might take that chance to immediately attack. But if he didn't back down, that invisible pressure would continue to condense on him like crazy. He had only faced this kind of pressure when facing the demon general. Finally, when Wang Lin was only 20 steps from him, the burly man in black armor, whose forehead was covered in sweat, shouted, "Commander Wang, what do you intend to do?" Wang Lin calmly opened his mouth as he continued to step forward. "This is my military camp, what do you think I intend?" The burly man in black armor immediately felt an enormous pressure on his body as if there were countless large mountains pressing down on him. He suppressed his urge to back up and shouted, "You have been missing for over a year, and the demon general has long ago stripped you of your rank as commander." 1 year. So it has only been 1 year. Wang Lin's heart felt a hint of relief, but his aura became even stronger. "Where are my 2 followers?" When Wang Lin entered the army camp, his divine sense spread out and didn't find 13 nor Hu Pao. At this moment, there were only around 10 steps between him and the burly man in black armor. Bursts of powerful aura came crashing down on the burly man like wild beasts. He suppressed his urge to take a step back, because as the chief commander, he couldn't allow a commander to outpressure him, or else his position would no longer be secure. Even if this commander's cultivation was more powerful than his. Wang Lin immediately noticed that the burly man was reaching his limit, so he immediately sped up and took 7 steps in a row. The burly man immediately felt Wang Lin's aura increase like crazy in those 7 steps. It felt like countless mountains had just crashed down upon him. He could no longer resist this pressure and involuntarily took a step back. The burly man took 1 step back and his own pressure weakened. In reaction, Wang Lin's pressure immediately skyrocketed and reached a peak. Not good. The burly man's expression changed, and at the same time, Wang Lin's eyes became cold. He bolted forward like lightning and charged directly at the burly man in black armor. At this moment, his peak late-stage soul transformation cultivation quickly revealed itself. As the burly man backed up, his hands clenched into a fist and immediately threw a punch, causing a loud rumble, and the sound wave spread forward. At the same time, the demonic spiritual energy in his body surged out and immediately formed a black tortoise about 1,000 feet wide. This black tortoise was covered with countless spikes on its back and tail. As its tail swung around, it felt like it could cause space itself to shatter as black lines appeared in the air. Wang Lin stepped toward him through the air, moving as fast as lightning. His thumb lifted into the air as he used the finger of death. Now that his cultivation had reached the peak of the late stage of soul transformation, the power of his finger of death was several times more powerful. If it wasn't for the fact that the demon soldiers had already backed up, they would have had their flesh and demonic spiritual energy absorbed by the finger of death. Even though they had backed away, some of their demonic spiritual energy was still absorbed by the finger of death. At this moment, waves of demonic spiritual energy gathered on Wang Lin's finger from the heavens and earth. Some of the demon soldiers that weren't familiar with Wang Lin were too close and they felt the blood in their bodies boiling. In the blink of an eye, the blood in their bodies turned into essence and flew out of their bodies. Luckily, their companions quickly pulled those who were frozen in place away, preventing a massacre. The heavens and earth changed colors from Wang Lin's finger of death, and the entire camp was now covered in darkness. The sound wave created from the punch the burly man threw out immediately collapsed. Wang Lin's thumb didn't pause for a moment as it pressed down with his body. At this moment, it was as everything within 1,000 feet had gathered on his finger. As the finger of death descended, the burly man in black armor had the illusion that he was fighting against the heavens. The burly man let out a roar and his body immediately fused with the black tortoise behind him. Now his eyes were filled with a demonic light. At this moment, Wang Lin finally encountered a native using a native demonic spell. At the moment the burly man fused with the black tortoise, it seemed to come to life as it let out a roar and its tail whipped toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes became cold and his finger of death pressed down on the black tortoise's tail. The tail immediately began to shatter inch by inch, and this began to affect the entire body. The difference between a peak late-stage soul transformation cultivator and a normal late-stage soul transformation cultivator was a huge gap that could not be easily crossed. Not to mention the fact that his spell was very powerful, the finger's strength was extremely close to the power of an ascendant cultivator. The black tortoise's body shattered and the burly man's armor cracked into pieces. He coughed out a mouthful of blood before being forced back several steps and kneeling down on one leg. The demonic spells sure have their own extraordinary powers. Wang Lin coldly looked at the burly man. If it had been a cultivator, their cultivation level would have fallen, but this didn't happen to the burly man. Although his injuries looked serious, his foundation wasn't hurt at all. Wang Lin's right hand reached behind him and Sima Yang's body immediately flew toward him and was caught by him. "Where are my followers?" Wang Lin's voice was like the cold winds of winter blowing into Sima Yang's ears. Sima Yang's body trembled. This voice that entered his ears caused his entire body to become cold. "Half a year after you left, the two of them went missing. I don't know where they went." Wang Lin coldly looked at Sima Yang and no longer wasted time with him. His two fingers formed a sword and immediately pointed between Sima Yang's brows. He used the soul search spell once more. Sima Yang's body violently convulsed and blood came out of his orifices. His eyes bulged out like they were ready to explode. Wang Lin's divine sense continued to search through Sima Yang's mind. The memories of the past year continued to appear before Wang Lin. Half a year after he left, 13 and Hu Pao had a dispute. Hu Pao decided to not wait and return to the tribe, while 13 was determined to wait here for Wang Lin. Finally, Hu Pao left, but he wasn't successful in his departure. Sima Yang easily caught Hu Pao and used the excuse of him violating army regulations to waste his cultivation and threw him into the dark prison. 3 months later, Hu Pao mysteriously disappeared. The dark prison was very well guarded, so even Sima Yang didn't know how Hu Pao went missing. As for 13, he tried to help Hu Pao, but in the end he was not Sima Yang's match. He crushed all of 13's meridians and bones and was about to throw him into the dungeon to die like Hu Pao. However, the chief commander saw it and took 13 away. These various memories appeared inside Wang Lin's eyes. His eyes became even colder as he let out an angry laugh and repeated the word, "good," 3 times. The celestial slaughter art was very difficult to use, but this time Wang Lin successfully refined a life seal from Sima Yang in a moment of anger. After killing Sima Yang, Wang Lin looked at the burly man not far away from him. From Sima Yang's memories, it was him who took away 13, who was on the verge of death. Wang Lin took one step and arrived before the burly man. He coldly asked, "Where is 13? The burly man in black armor stared at Wang Lin, then he pondered for a bit and said, "Is the person you are referring to the barbarian Sima Yang wasted half a year ago? If you are looking for him, then asking me is useless." The demon general set out an order to gather people with strong bodies. That barbarian had all his demonic spiritual energy gathered in his flesh and used a mysterious method to refine his body. I saw that he met the demon general's requirement, so I healed him and gifted him to the demon general. Commander Wang, if you have the ability, you don't have show off here. Do you dare to ask the Lord Demon General yourself? You can rest assured, I won't lie about matters relating to the demon general. The burly man looked at Wang Lin and sneered. You saved 13 and then gave him to the demon general. Your actions balanced each other out, so I won't kill you. Wang Lin's expression was gloomy as his body turned into a cloud of smoke that charged into the sky and then flew directly toward the demon general's palace. The burly man said that in a moment of desperation. He was defeated by Wang Lin and didn't expect to live, but now he was startled. Raising his head, he looked at the green smoke Wang Lin turned into in the horizon. He hesitated for a bit and said, half a year ago, the demon general went into closed-door cultivation and closed off all transfer arrays. If you want to enter, the only possible way is to break in. He touched his chest as he walked away. He was heavily injured and needed to return to his palace to recover. As Wang Lin flew through the sky as a cloud of green smoke, he spread out his divine sense and scanned the area. All of the transfer arrays inside ancient demon city that led to the demon general's palace were closed. These arrays were closed from the other side and had nothing to do with the transfer arrays themselves. Unless the demon general opened them from the other side himself, it would be impossible to use them. 13 and Hu Pao were brought here to ancient demon city by me, meaning I dragged them into this, Wang Lin secretly sighed. Originally, when he left, he didn't expect to fall asleep inside the cave. Due to a series of circumstances, he hurt 13 and Hu Pao. In this world, there are things that happen and things that don't. Cultivators hope for longevity and to escape from fate, to dodge calamities and meet good fate. 13 and Hu Pao aren't close to me, and to break into the demon general's palace for them means going against the demon general and the sky demon country. I should be wary of danger and stay away from it. None of this seems to be worth it. However, I, Wang Lin, don't want to follow convention and to one day find the Tao of the heavens. I want to live without feeling I have wronged anyone. I'm not a gentleman, a villain, an honest person, or a hypocrite, but there are some things in life that must be done for the sake of it. From this point of view, I'm not suited to be a cultivator. However, there are certain things I have to do. If I don't save 13, what Tao am I chasing? Wang Lin looked up into the sky. His heart was set. There were 6 doors between the military camp and the demon general's palace. If he couldn't use the transfer array, then he would have to break through them one by one to get inside. The inside and outside of each of the 6 doors are well guarded, and the entire palace was surrounded by a formation that prevented teleportation. Wang Lin appeared outside the 6th door. The door was over 100 feet tall and was connected to the outer wall, which had restrictions constantly flickering along it. The moment Wang Lin appeared, there was a shout from a guard next to the door. Incomer, stop and quickly leave. If you take another step, you will be killed without question. Wang Lin raised his head and his eyes became cold. He took a deep breath, touched his bag of holding, and the celestial sword immediately flew out. The sword circled his body and Shulikwa's roars kept coming out from the sword. The moment the celestial sword appeared, the guards outside the sixth door revealed killing intent in their eyes and stared at Wang Lin. Wang Lin took one step, causing the guards to immediately charge forth. They all launched their demonic spiritual energy to stop Wang Lin. Facing all these demon soldiers, Wang Lin didn't stop and walked forward step by step. The celestial sword sliced through the air around Wang Lin. Anyone that tried to stop Wang Lin had to get past the celestial sword. A series of miserable groans echoed the area as Wang Lin jumped on the celestial sword and charged directly at the door. He hadn't even stabilized himself when a ray of sword energy shot out and landed on the sixth door. Boom! The sixth door shattered and countless fragments were blown back. Right now there were thousands of demon soldiers in the square between the sixth and fifth door. They were immediately forced to back up from the fragments of the sixth door. This video will end here.